Hey there, CEOs. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Barter Black's Today in Black History podcast, where we are spotlighting Black business owners, authors, entrepreneurs, everything that you need to know. I am here today with Brian Johnson, who is an author of several nonfiction works and uses film to teach diversity, right? How are you today, Brian?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. And for those who don't know the both of us, we go back all the way to Susquehanna University. Did you come in 2000? No, we came, yeah,
2001.
we came in 2000. You came in 2001. What year did you leave?
2007.
2007. We left in 2004. So all the way back those years, Susquehanna University. So I'm super happy to be here with you today. So first, tell us more about you and your background.
I'm an English teacher by trade. I've been teaching sociology and communications for the last few years. I'm a father of 4 and grandfather of 8. I'm doing, but most of all, I'm a writer. So I had a stroke 7 years ago, and so my speech is not as great as I want it to be. So I'm still excited to be here, though.
I appreciate you being here. And we're glad, of course, that you're doing well. So how did you know you wanted to be an author? Where did that start?
Weirdly enough, I didn't know that I wanted to be an author. What I realized when I wrote my first book, I was afraid of writing. I didn't know I didn't know how to write. So I think I stumbled upon writing in the process. It was the year that I was leaving Susquehanna. I was at a conference, and I went to the exhibit hall as I'm wont to do, and I'm wandering around, and I was talking to different people, and I came across a booth that had there were a lot of media related books, and I was checking them out, and I said, "Hey, I write about diversity in film. What are you guys looking for?" And when I tell you the woman described the book that I was working on to a T, I said, "Oh my goodness, let me show you what I have." So I pulled it out of my bag. I said, "Is this what you're looking for?" And she said, "This is exactly what we want." And in a matter of 7 seconds, I had a book contract. And
Really?
yep. So that taught me that I could write. And I started writing fiction by chance. A friend of mine just invited me to join her in a yearly contest in November. It's called NaNoWriMo. November is National Novel Writing Month. And she asked me to do NaNoWriMo with her in 2008, I think it was. And I did it. And the task is to write a 50,000 word first draft in 30 days. I finished mine in 26 days. It took me 8 years to get it ready for publication, but I did it through, and I do NaNoWriMo every year. Now
Nice.
I can't do anything but write.
I love that. You didn't know that it would be a passion. You showed up somewhere, talked to someone, and it was like, boom, this is me. This is what I want to do. So I know this is not your first go around. How many books have you written total?
I have 9 books out.
Wow. That's amazing.
My goal is 20 in my lifetime.
Woo, that is amazing. So what do you feel about being an author and leaving that legacy because you said your goal is 20. So how important is that legacy to actually become that author and leave that behind? That's your mark that you're leaving behind for the world. How important is that?
Extremely important. So that's why I write about slavery now. Because I feel like the world tries to forget who we are. So it's my way of suggesting that these people of our history are important and should not be forgotten. So it's important for me to tell their story so that we remember them.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about your latest. This is your latest book, right? Send Judah First.
It's not that one came out in 2019.
Okay.
I had one that came out last year.
Okay.
I try to put out a novel every 2 years or so.
Got you. Got you. So let's talk about Send Judah First. Tell us more about that.
Send Judah First all came to life because I took students on a field trip. I was working at Bloomsburg University, and I was in charge of an organization called the Frederick Douglass Living and Learning Community. And I wanted to, the summer of 2016, I wanted to introduce the new class to the legacy of Frederick Douglass. And I was worried that most students didn't know enough about the history of slavery. So I connected with an organization called the Slave Dwelling Project, who their task is they travel around the country and do overnight visits at foreign plantations, and they have overnighters at former slave dwellings. So they arranged for us to travel to Belle Grove, which is in Virginia. And I took about 25 students, or I planned to take 25 students with me on this trip. On the morning of the trip, only 7 showed up.
Wow.
Yeah, I was pissed. And so students kept coming to me with their excuses, and several of them were saying they were angry, upset, fearful. So one student told me, said, I can't go there because Mass is going to get me. I said, Mass has been dead 200 years and he can't get you. So I had one boy who was so upset, he stood in my office door. He was just mad as a hat. He said, what can they teach me about slavery? I know everything. And so, but on the morning of, 7 students went with me. It was a great trip though.
Okay.
So we got there, and I'll never forget riding on the bus, and we going down the street where the plantation is. And I remember, when everybody is on a road trip, everybody goes to sleep. So everybody's starting to wake up. We're literally almost at the plantation. They woke up and they said, Dr. Johnson, where are you taking me? The whole street was full of Confederate flags and Trump signs. The whole, and they said, Dr. Johnson, where are we going? I said, I'm going back in time. So we got there and we started touring. We had lunch at this beautiful restaurant that was restored. We had lunch in what they called the winter kitchen. It was the original kitchen that from the 1700s. So then they took us on a tour of various Civil War related sites. And we finally made it to the plantation, and there was a person from the National Park Service giving a presentation. And her name was Shannon Muck. She introduced us to the former enslaved cook on the plantation. Her name was Judah. And so she told us, she said something that really kind of struck me. She said there was only 2 documents in existence that prove that Judah ever lived. And she said, I want you guys to think about Judah's life for a second. So I did just that. I sat in there, and I remember sitting on the steps and feeling like she had hit me with a ton of bricks. And I pledged that day that I would tell Judah's story.
Wow.
So now think about this. She had 12 children in slavery. She had 12 children, and she was a young girl. And I know for me, thinking about my legacy is it's important for me to be remembered. I want to be significant to somebody. I want my life to matter.
Right.
And the thought of her working on that plantation for X number of years to never be remembered was really off-putting to me. So so she had us handle we were literally in the kitchen where Judah cooked.
Wow.
And so we also were spending the night there. So we're actually sleeping on the floor where she would likely have slept too. And that, I think, touched me a lot. And so the idea that somebody besides my wife and my children would remember was really important.
Yeah.
So that's how it first came to life for me.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. It started off with a trip and you learning a story. It's just everything in your life connects to what you're going to do next.
Yeah.
So, in reading this book, what do you hope people get from it?
I think the number one thing is I want people to learn to appreciate our history.
Mm.
One of the things that was troubling to me is there are a number of entertainers and others that are saying that they're tired of hearing slave stories and they're tired of seeing black people pain. And I think God kind of does them a disservice. Yeah, it's a painful time in our history, and nobody wants to remember it. But
Right.
But the pain that our people went through to survive is really more important to me. So we need to learn that history, and America's not doing the job right. So I need to do it too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we all have a part in that. And if you think about generations to come, if we stop talking about the story, then there won't be a story to tell because no one's going to know the story.
The reality is that it's a story of survival.
Yeah.
And we have to give them the dignity of their humanity. I really wanted to do that for Judah.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was your so you had 7 people go on the trip. What was their experience like after? Was it something that they, went back and told the other students that didn't go? You definitely should have got on that bus. What was that experience like?
We had students do testimonials after the trip. There were several that said they were glad they went. I know one girl in particular talked about how her father really wanted her to go.
Okay.
And she really appreciated going on the trip. The one student who told me that Mass is going to give me, she was like, Mass didn't do anything to us. It was a great trip. So we had a good time.
Nice. Is this something that you have your students read? This book? Or what ages would you say?
I think high school and up is good for her.
Okay.
I had a father tell me that he introduced it to his children. His youngest daughter was in 5th grade, I think, and he used to introduce it to her. So I would say as young as middle school.
Okay.
I mean,
go ahead.
It's not a book. It handles history very well, but I try to remember that there might be young readers. So it talks about serious issues, but I don't go into a lot of depth in it.
Okay. All right. So I know we have a lot of parents who are listening and watching. Send you the first. Can you tell us where we can purchase it, Brian?
Yeah, it's on Amazon, and it's published by Hidden Shelf Publishing Company. I'm sorry, Hidden Shelf Publishing House, and it's available in paperback, hardback, and in it's on audiobook too. So here's the cover. So Send You the First, The Erased Life of an Enslaved Soul is available wherever books are sold. It's so the thing that pained me when I was writing it is how do I tell a different story? How do I tell an authentic, real story that's not the same old stuff we've seen before? And I was worried because one of the things that I was troubled by was I didn't want to write another Roots, because it's been done. It's a bestseller. I never wanted to compare myself to Alice Haley,
Right.
And so I was concerned that it would be something we've seen before.
Okay.
But I think I managed to get away with my writing. I didn't try to compare myself to Alice Haley or whatever. But I wrote a good story. I think my connection to Judah makes it even better, because I like to cook, so Judah was the enslaved cook, so I really connected with that.
Okay.
That part of her. So I really tried to make the food like speak for me. So I one thing in the book, I included 35 recipes that with recipes that she would have made, likely. That's in the book too. So I collect cookbooks. So and I really like the ones that tell a story. So I try to let the food tell a story too.
Nice. Have you had anyone send you pictures of the food they tried to cook?
I have actually.
Nice.
There's a young lady who has a food show on YouTube, and she contacted me and she said that she's going to make. Of course, I put an apple pie recipe, and she decided to make the pie on YouTube, and then I went and had a visit at Novel Eaters and Readers Book Club, and they made her biscuit. I had a biscuit recipe in there, and then they made the biscuits, and we had them at the meeting. They actually were pretty good.
Nice. Look, I love to eat too. That has not changed. That has not changed at all. So for anyone looking to write a book, what advice would you give them?
The biggest thing is just write it. Because everybody has a bunch of advice on writing a book. But if you don't have if you don't have anything on the page to read, then you don't have a book. So if you want to write a book, do it. There's a lot of people tell you no, but just do it. And so nobody can tell your story, whatever you want to tell, the way you can tell it. So just write it, and it'll get good as it comes.
Yeah, just write it. I know a lot of people have different ideas. I have this idea, but you gotta put it down, pen to paper, or type it, whatever, however you want to do it. Get it out of your brain, so you
That's
can
right.
get it into a book. Okay. Is there anything else you want to leave us with?
For me, finding the story that you want to tell is a good thing, but again, you need to write the book, but don't fear rejection. Don't fear the naysayers. But so you can, like I said, with my first novel, The Room Downstairs, I did that in 26 days, but it took me 8 years to get it ready for publication. So
Wow.
Take your time and make it good, so you can do it. So I would tell any of your readers or viewers, the story that's within you can be told, and if it needs to get out there, your story is worth telling.
I felt that one. Your story is worth telling, and everyone has their own story that they could tell and leave that legacy and that mark on the world that will always be here, even if you aren't.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So I know you're an author. There may be some things that you need. Are there any things that you might need being an author in your business that people can shoot their shot and barter with you?
I think what I regularly need is people who can motivate me to do more. So I think what I'm constantly in need of are what we call beta readers, people who read your work. So yeah, I can barter some advice and give me some feedback.
Yeah,
I,
I love that. I
I'm
love that.
always working on new projects, so I'm always looking for writing partners to join me in writing. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Some beta readers, some writers. Because I know we have a bunch of writers, and I know we have a few authors on the podcast. So we'll definitely connect everybody, because I definitely love to connect as well. Any final words before we get out of here?
You can find me on Instagram at Dr. Dr. C. Johnson. And I'm on Twitter at The Real Brian, ThereelBrian. So check me out.
Okay, so definitely connect with Ryan. All of his information, his links and everything will be in the show notes and the comments, so you can do that. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Brian, thank you so much for joining me today. I really, really appreciate it. It was great talking to you. And have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place, for another amazing entrepreneur that I'm featuring this month. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye, honey.